Mr. President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. Before handing over the floor to the defense team, I wish to turn to my colleague on the bench. If you have any question to put to the party, you may proceed. Judge Lavange, you may proceed now.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. Witness. I have a few follow-up questions for you. First of all, questions regarding your family. Can you tell us, for starters, whether you have any family ties with Tamok?
I had some relation with Tamok. Actually, I was a very distant relative of Tamok. We were not biological brother, or neither were we the cousin.
Quand vous connaissiez-vous?
And since when had you known Tamok?
When I was young, I met him once. At that time, he entered monkhood, and he went to my house. When he met my mother, he would call my mother auntie, and he went to visit my house. And my mother asked me to call him brother, brother Chun. If we had any religious functions or anything, then we would call each other, we would invite each others. But in the political affairs or anything to do with politics at that time, I was still very young. I did not have any connection with him. I studied in my hometown, and then I went to the French schools, and then I went to Phnom Penh.
Je vous remercie. Donc, si je comprends bien...
Thank you. If I understand what you're saying, therefore, Tamok was your mother's nephew. Is that correct?
No, he was not my mother's biological nephew, but it was it was a very distant relative of my mother.
Bien, alors parlons...
Very well. Let us now talk about your brothers or your siblings. You said there were 6 of you who were children, and you had 2 brothers, Teknel and Tek Kim, who had problems during democratic Kampuchea. Another witness said you had another brother called Taku, whose name may have also been Tasra Maum. Did you have an elder brother by that name?
I had a brother, an elder brother by the name of Ku. He was the twin of Krit. And I also had another elder sister, and then after that it was me. It was in 1979. My mother was very old already, so my sister was the one who took care of me.
Est-ce que Ku est toujours vivant?
Is Ku still alive? And if he is deceased, can you tell us under what circumstances he died?
Brother Ku passed away a long time ago. At that time, I was still a school child. At that time, I was studying in Phnom Penh. It was in 1968. There was internal strife in the Khmer Rouge, and I was studying in Phnom Penh. He was about to be arrested at that time in our hometown. He took a refuge, and I lost contact with him ever since. And then around 1 year later, I learned from others that he left with his wife in Kampong Sala, close to the military barrack. And he passed away. I heard from others that he joined the Khmer Rouge with another guy, and he was armed, and he went with the other Khmer Rouge soldiers, and he went to the village, and he was very hungry. He went to the village to pick the coconut to drink. And I met him, and I could not climb the coconut tree, so he went himself. But the other Khmer Rouge soldier used his gun to shoot the coconut tree, but it missed the coconut, and he shot another time, and he got, I think he was shot, and he got killed, and I did not know where he was buried. He was taken away, and maybe he would have, his body would have been left along the road. He had 4 children, 2 male and 2 female. And Tamok sent them to Bat Dambong, but they since then had disappeared.
Very well. Mr. Witness, I think we should stop here because we have many questions. Mr. President, may I request that the witness be shown the sheet of paper on which the witness's name and his pseudonym are written. May I therefore request that this sheet of paper be shown to the witness?
The President. Yes, please.
Alors, je précise que pour les parties.
Let me point out in the interest of the parties that the person in question is a witness that we are going to hear soon. The pseudonym is TCW H2. Witness, do you know the person whose name is written on this sheet of paper?
mentionner son nom.
Let me caution you not to mention that name aloud. Do you know that person?
C'est votre réponse. Je crois qu'elle n'a.
Please repeat your answer. I believe it has not come through the microphone.
Yes, I do.
Est-ce qu'il s'agit d'une personne avec laquelle vous avez.
Is that a person with whom you have family ties? And if yes, what are those family ties? And are you still in contact with that person?
I have separated from him. Of course, we were related, but we have rarely contacted each other. Well, he was my younger brother-in-law. But when he had the wedding ceremony for his children, he did not invite me. And other family functions too, he never invited me to.
Bien.
Very well. So witness 2TCW 882 says the following regarding your brother Taku, that he was shot dead and beheaded while he was climbing a coconut tree to harvest coconuts. And then the head was given to Samdek during an inauguration ceremony. It is in document E319/8.2.4. Does this reflect what you remember? Was your brother beheaded and was his head given to Samdek during an inauguration ceremony?
Well, yes, that was the story.
Bien, on va passer à un autre sujet, monsieur.
Very well, we'll move on to another subject, witness. Please tell me, do you also know a person called Real Sun? That person was Deputy Director of the Tramkak District Hospital.
Yes, I do, but I had never worked with him. He had worked with Com, and then later on he ended up working in the hospital, but I did not have any relation with him. Whatever he had to do, he had his own responsibility over there.
Est-ce que vous pouvez me dire, monsieur,
Can you tell us, sir, who was responsible for the appointment of cadres, including village chiefs and commune chiefs, who assigned those responsible for hospitals, or those who had responsibilities in the hospitals? Was it the district? Was it the sector, or officials from other levels?
At the district level, it was appointed by the district. And then it would be proposed to the sector. It was not the sector who made an appointment, but simply reviewed the proposal and endorsed it. And Son was there for a long time, and then he assigned him. I do not know whether or not he had proposed to the sector. I saw that proposal and then I agreed. We did not consult among the district committee. And then he assumed the task. Then he performed his duties. We did not have any disagreement over his appointment.
Est-ce qu'il y avait des directives?
Were there any particular directives regarding the appointment of cadres? And to be more specific, were the cadres who were appointed people who needed to have a particular pedigree? That is, did they belong to a particular class? Did they have to belong to a particular class? And if yes, which class?
The appointment had to follow strictly the party line. It had to be based on the poor peasant and pure pedigree. And when it was based on the peasant class, was that, to my understanding, we were not extravagant. We tried to be economical. We were not greedy. We did not take in our possession what belonged to others. So that was the position, that what it was meant to be. And they had to belong to the peasant who were honest, the peasant who were obedient, the peasant who were friendly and who were self-disciplined. And he or she had to have the ability too.
Mr. Witness, may I request you to keep your answers short because we have very little time. My question was very simple. My intention was to find out whether in appointing hospital officials, they were interested in finding out whether they had any medical background or training, and were they also interested in their biography or their pedigree.
In the appointment, through my observation, they did not review the biography that much. So the most important thing was his experience in the medical field. So that did not comply with the party line.
Bien.
Very well. I'll read out to you some statements by Mr. Real San. He was heard on the 18th and 19th of March this year, and he referred to meetings he attended. First of all, may I request you to say whether you remember attending or chairing meetings at the level of the district during which Mr. Real San participated with other district officials, and if yes, what was the purpose of such meetings?
I do not recall. In the district committee meeting, there was no appointment of the medical personnel. There might have been a discussion, but I was not there because at that time, there was a clear task division. So we did not govern all aspects of task delegation or division.
Bien, voilà.
Very well. Mr. Riel San referred to meetings during which instructions were given regarding purges. He specifically referred to a first meeting that was held shortly before the 17th of April 1975. He stated at the hearing of the 18th of March 2015 at 15 hours 08, document E1/279.1, and this is what he stated, and I quote, free translation, Tachim gave us instructions I referred to. He announced that that only had to do with Tramkak district. People, in brackets, evacuees, had to be assembled in pagodas and villages and communes of Tramkak district. And that is why all the village chiefs and commune chiefs were invited to attend that meeting. It was important for them to monitor the evacuees and to ascertain whether they were former civil servants or soldiers, end of quote. Later on, Riel San referred to another meeting and he said the following at 15 hours 26 seconds. Free translation. During the second meeting, he, that is Tachim, reiterated the same instructions. At that time, the evacuees were present in all the communes and villages, and he asked the village chiefs and the commune chiefs to carry out research among the evacuees to ascertain whether the persons present were former soldiers or officials of the Lone Nol Army, or whether they were high-ranking civil servants, beginning with the first deputy mayor. And if that was the case, they had to be purged. It was the village chiefs, the commune chiefs, the militia chiefs who had implemented that policy. And of course, I have just read out to you the statement of Riel San. Please tell us what you think of that statement.
I'd like to clarify the issue. That was the plan set out by the upper echelon, and we had to disseminate such plan. We have to review it, and then we will report it back. However, this plan or this concept did not initiate by myself.
Who? From whom did you receive these directions, and when was this plan disseminated, and what did this plan consist of?
Let me explain to you. On that day, COM convened a meeting. So what Son said was not correct. I only participated in that meeting, which was held by the chief of the party in the area. And I added a little bit further through that circular as I was instructed by Com. So I gave a little bit of a speech in addition to what was said by Com. So as I said, the plan was announced, but there was no gathering, although it was set in the plan.
When did you become aware of these instructions? Was it before 17 April 1975, as Mr. Rial-san stated, or was it after, a long time after, or just afterwards?
It happened about 3 or 4 months after the 17 April 1975, and I learned it through Com, as Com raised the plan during the meeting that she convened.
Mr. Witness, I can read to you again what Rial-san said. Rial-san indicated that this happened at a moment when the people were going to be evacuated or were in the process of being evacuated. So you are telling us that he is mistaken, or do you remember having received orders that had been sent before 17 April 1975?
I do not catch your question, Your Honor. Please repeat it so that I can respond to the point of the question.
Yes, I was telling you that the witness, Rial-san, told us that during the first meeting that occurred before 17 April, it was indicated that the evacuees were going to be gathered in pagodas in the villages and in the communes of the district, and therefore that it was necessary to plan to watch over these evacuees, and in particular to detect whether these evacuees were former officials or soldiers. And he stated then that a second meeting took place later where the same orders were given. So, therefore, can you tell us, if, as far as you remember, if there was one or if there were two meetings, and if there was only one meeting, did this meeting happen before the 17th of April or after?
I can remember that there was only one meeting, and it happened after the 17 April 1975.
What were exactly the instructions given? Were they, as Mr. Rial-san said, were the instructions to purge, that is to say, to eliminate these people, that is to say, officials or officers from the London regime?
At that time, Com made the announcement about the plan as he received the plan from the sector level, and I participated in that meeting. However, I did not see any approach being conducted after the meeting was held, as people, those people subject to the plan had already been gathered on the 17 April 1975, or while they were en route through various provinces.
Therefore, witness, these people who were gathered, what was going to happen to them? What was their fate?
If those people indeed were gathered, it meant they had no future. It means their fate was in a disaster. However, this is just my personal opinion.
Bien.
Fine. Now I'm going to share with you what another witness said, that is to say, witness TCW 822. And this is in his written record of interview at E319.1.2 at answer 27. And he says the following. Tachium set up the party bodies in June or July 1970, and I did not stop seeing massive arrests since that day. One day, I saw people being escorted, and I ended up asking the question to the people who were escorting these people, which is, where are you going? And they answered me, we are going to see Anka. In the following days, I learned that the people I had seen had been arrested. Therefore, I no longer asked any questions, and the people who were arrested were former teachers and officials. So, do you have any observations to make in relation to what I just read out to you?
The situation was very strict at the time. And Com only kept me to stay with her, and as for taking people here and there, personally, I did not involve in that. I did not involve in this matter at all. Of course, there were people who were sent to us from by the communities, and we further sent them on. If there was a gap in there that we could help them, then we would do so. But as for the 105 soldiers under the control of Hassan and I, all of them disappeared except one. Rather, those teachers. And they said that they were sent back home, but they disappeared.
When you tell us that they disappeared, what do you mean exactly by that? What happened to them?
The 105 people who disappeared, as I meant that they were not Jews. So then they said that those teachers were allowed to send back home. And that's what the Com said, and San was engaged in other business. And in 1972, the stance of a class struggle was intensified, as the country or the movement should be led by those people who were laborers or who were peasants. And those who could not conform themselves to that social class would be taken out. So those people requested to be sent back home, as they were afraid that if they were working with them, they would make a mistake and then they would be disciplined. But allow me to say that there was no arrest or execution of those people at all. Some of them left, they could return to Phnom Penh, as I believe 4 or 5 of them returned to work in their previous position in the former colonial regime, and there was no arrest at all of those former teachers.
So during the Democratic Kampuchea regime, people could travel freely and go to Phnom Penh and occupy positions they had during the time of the Lon Nol regime. Is that what you're telling us, Mr. Witness?
Maybe you misunderstand my statement. Those people were allowed to return home, so then they could go wherever they wish to. They could go secretly, maybe through the forest, so they would move around the forest. Then they would emerge at the Tram Khna, and then they could move on. And if they were to be arrested, then they would be dead. So if they could go and engage in the job, then they would earn the salary and feed their family. Here, I refer to the year of 1972.
Monsieur le témoin.
Witness. 1972 is a very interesting year, but it's completely out of the scope of our discussion. I would like you to focus on what happened as of 17 April 1975. So, my question is, on April 17, were there instructions and were they purges, and who was purged? Am I clear?
Que vous pouvez répondre.
Can you please answer this question, witness, or do you wish not to answer this question?
I am unsure, as I did not see it. If you say there were arrests, I didn't see any arrest. And I myself did not involve in any arrest. In 1975, people died. The militia unit belonged to the district, provided the protection, and then there were militia unit at the commune level to provide the protection to the 12 groups within the commune. So the militia units also provided the protection or the defense at Ong Ta Saum. And if people were arrested at the front, the battlefield, they could hardly survive.
Witness, earlier you told us that people had been gathered and that their fate was a disastrous one. And these people were gathered pursuant to a plan, yes or no? And did this plan consist in eliminating these people who were gathered? Can you please answer by yes or by no?
No.
So therefore, why was their situation so disastrous, Mr. Witness?
I think I need to provide a lengthy response to that so that you can understand. I refer to the group of those teachers who were allowed to rest.
Du tout intéressé.
Witness, please, please. I'm not at all interested in the group of the 105 teachers who experienced what you talked about in 1972. I'm only interested in what happened to the people who were gathered after 17 April 1975. Am I clear enough?
Vous ne souhaitez pas répondre, vous nous dites.
But if you don't wish to answer, please say so.
I cannot respond to that question since I am not sure of the nature of that question.
Well, fine. I thought I was clear. I don't know how I could be any clearer. Now we're going to pass on to another question. Witness Riel-san, corrects the interpreter, stated that during the district committee meetings, he had been questioned on the reasons many people who were sick in the hospital he was in charge of were suffering from edema or from diarrhea. And he indicated that he had presented or explained that the situation was due to lack of food. And when he presented this problem, the head of the district told him that what he was saying were an offense to the cooperative, an attack against the cooperative. And he said then that he did not dare make any requests for the hospital to be better supplied in food. And therefore, he would often send requests, but he would never receive anything in return. These statements were made during the hearing with transcript E1/278.1 from 10:47:39 seconds to 10:53:24 seconds. So does this ring a bell? Do you remember having been concerned about the fact that there were people who were sick in the hospital, about what was their illness, and about whether they had enough to eat?
Yes, I was concerned about that.
Et que pensez-vous?
And what do you think about what Mr. Rial-san said? That is to say that when he explained the situation, he was told that what he was saying was an offense against the cooperative.
at that time I heard about that, but I did not go there directly. We took measure to provide rights to the adjacent commune, but I did not know the result of that matter. Because at that time there were many sick people in all hospitals, and we provided them with a supplementary food. Of course, the situation was difficult, so we asked the people in the management had to resolve the issue by providing extra food and care to those people.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have much time left, so I'm going to I will move on now to another topic. Witness, I would like you to tell me if there was back then a policy regarding the creation of dams, of reservoirs, a policy governing the building of canals, that is to say, a policy geared to provide a better infrastructure to the country. Did you receive any instructions with that regard, and who provided those instructions to you?
We received those instructions as part of the party lines through our study session. So we had to implement the party lines. Wherever we could build dams or dig a canal, then we would make a proposal to the upper level to proceed. Because at that time, which land plot that we think we could work on it, then we just made a proposal, because the land by that time did not belong to anyone. It was for the collective use.
What was your specific role in the implementation of these policies? The first day you came to testify, you said that you could not attend all of the district committee meetings because you had to travel, go to the work sites. So was your role to supervise all of the work sites in Tram Kok district?
Allow me to clarify that sometimes I missed attending the meetings at the district, and I was authorized by the district chief because I was busy with other matters. And of course, during the last few days, I have explained that in great detail. And on the work plan, we consulted among the district members, and it was approved by the sector and by the zone. And once the sector approved, then we would implement the plan. And we would draw the work plan and to proceed with that. So it was a joint effort by the district committee. Although we did not have any advanced technology, we resorted to our traditional measure in measuring a land for the construction of those irrigational system, and we could do it. We had to do it ourselves because there was no engineer who would come and assist us. And in fact, there was one man who knew a little bit about the engineering aspect, and he was a soldier, and he came to
assist us and to modify a little bit of our work plan. And that is all.
Can you tell us if the implementation of this plan involved many sites? Can you give us the names of the main work sites in Tram Kok district? And for example, the dam that was built at Bok Trabek, was it one of the main work sites in your district?
Initially, the Pop Trabek dam location was a forest, and the word Kpop refers to the shallow part of the land, and then there were hills through the west and through the east. So we made a proposal to the sector, and the sector subsequently approved by the MOP. And then we initiated the plan. As for another dam stretching through the east direction, it was just an add-on to the initial plan. And a village nearby was impacted by the building of the dam, as some houses had to be relocated to the west side of the dam. And as for the canal also had an impact on a few houses, so those houses had to be remodified or relocated to pave way for the construction of the canal, and the forces were provided to relocate those houses.
Witness, the number of people who worked on these work sites, do you believe it represents a few hundred or a few thousand or a few tens of thousands of people? We have a witness, Mr. Srotsang, who said that he worked on Bok Trabek work sites, and he said that there were about tens of thousands of people who were working there. What can you say about this?
Allow me to clarify. There was a firm mobile unit, or a strong mobile unit, which consisted of 8,000 male and female workers. And among these strong mobile unit, there were two sub-units, one female unit and one male unit. I convened a meeting and urged them to engage in the work plan. And each commune had to be responsible for the projects that went through their commune, and there were 14 communes respectively at the time. And each commune had also to provide a workforce in the form of a mobile unit. So yes, if you talk about the total number of people engaging in such projects, there were many workers. And as I said, the main mobile workforce consisted of two units, male and female units, respectively. And each commune would provide its own mobile unit to supplement the main workforce. And the education office would be located at the work site there as well. And then the main units will be subdivided into smaller units, and of course the district chief or committee did not have to control those smaller units. We dealt with the main unit chief We resolved the logistical issues. We provided the rice and food supply and medicine to the workers at the work site. And the medicine at the time was scarce, as we did not know how to produce them.
Monsieur le témoin, je...
Witness, I'll read part of the statement of witness 2 TCW 822. It is in the statement E319.1.32 in answer 63. This is what he states. In 1972, the population of Co Andet district sought refuge in Vietnam. Later on, Tamok battered the Vietnamese from Cambodia against those refugees. On one occasion, he retrieved 90 Khmers and handed them to Tachim so that they could transport earth using a shoulder pole for the construction of a canal at Kpok Trabek. Tachim stated that the Khmer in question was stealing and he executed them. A month later, Tamok intended to go and see the 90 Khmers and he questioned Tachim. He did not see them, and Tachim answered by saying, I executed them because they were stealing too much. Tamok started reprimanding Tachim violently, saying, do you think I can find manpower easily? I have bent over backwards in order to look for them so that they could give us a hand. Why did you kill them? Do you think I am capable of finding staff members? Question mark. End of quote. That was a free translation. Do you recall an incident regarding 90 Khmers from Vietnam who were allegedly executed, whereas they had been assigned to work at Kpok Trabek?
I had never encountered such a story. I categorically rejected this story.
ហើយរឿងអ្នកកម្ពុជាក្រមមនោសុខខាងកក់ជារឿងតំបន់
And as for the Khmer Krom coming to live in the region, it was the issue of the sector. The sector took them there. The sector would resolve it. And I don't know, probably it was only a rumor. People talk from one person to another, and I did not agree with the line of story you just mentioned. No, never ever Tamok would send a group of people to me.
Bien.
Very well. I have a last question for you as we are running out of time. Can you tell us whether you recall seeing leaders come and visit Tram Kok district, particularly cooperatives or work sites? Do you also recall a ceremony during which an honorary standard or flag was handed down to someone?
Honorary flag. In brief, I received received it on behalf of Tramkok committee. They presented it to me, and of course it was meant to give to all of us, not specifically to me. And I do not recall the exact date when it was presented to me. To my recollection, it was sometime in 1976, following the liberation. And Tramkok, Sotmai, Samlot districts in Cambodia, in the entire Cambodia, only 3 districts were awarded this gold medal. Following the fighting, and we could self-sustain in terms of the harvest we got. So that's why we were awarded this.
Juste une précision.
Please clarify something. Who were the leaders who came? Who were those who came when that medal was awarded? Were there any visits outside of that particular ceremony? And in particular, were there visits to work sites in Tramkok district?
At that time, only Tamok came to award that medal. Nobody else came. And at that time, it coincided when the dam was broken, and we convened the Congress, and following the Congress, we were awarded this medal. And coincidentally, the dam was broken, but there were 8,000 men and women who could stop it. We rebuilt the dam. We used the wooden pole in order to stop the water from destroying the dam. All of us actually went to help stop the dam from breaking.
Deux parties civiles ont témoigné.
2 civil parties testified before this chamber, specifying that leaders, particularly Nunchia and Kirsampan, visited work sites while they were building canals. Do you recall any visits by Kirsampan or Nunchia in Tramkok district?
I know that he came at the time, but I did not know the exact place where he visited and where I met him. He visited there, and there was a guy at that time by the name of Sen. He visited the cooperatives, but as for accompanying him, to my recollection, I never accompanied him because I had other tasks at the front, and people might have arranged his visit. So I am not sure, but of course he did go to visit the cooperatives.
Qui il?
Who do you mean by he? Who are you referring to? Nunchia Kirsampan or someone else?
Both of them, Mr. Nunjir and Mr. Kirsampan, they both did visit there. but I do not recall whether I had accompanied them during their visit, but I can only confirm that they did visit Tram Cok.
Bien, je vous remercie, Monsieur le témoin.
Very well. I thank you, Mr. Witness. I have gone well beyond the time allotted to me. I have no further questions for the witness, Mr. President.
The President. Thank you. The time is now appropriate for lunch break. The chamber shall adjourn now until 1:30 this afternoon. Court officer, please arrange the holding room for the witness during the break and have him back and his duty counsel back to this courtroom before 1:30 this afternoon. Security guards are instructed to bring Mr. Kilsampon to the holding cell downstairs and have him back in this courtroom this afternoon before 1:30. The court is now adjourned.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រោកឈរ